Hello and welcome to another Young Wong's tutorial on how to create a GIF of the Earth as you see on the screen by talking to the NASA's API. Now this requires only level 1 concepts and some concepts on how the web works, which we're going to cover here as well. Now to get started, what do we need? We need a laptop or any computer. You could also do this on a Raspberry Pi. You need an internet connection and you need Python 3 installed. The modules we're going to use are going to be NASAPy, which you can install by just doing pip3 install NASAPy. You can do requests. This is where we communicate with the NASA server and get images. And you're going to need datetime, but that's already installed. Pygame is in addition for students who are in level 2 and know how to use Pygame, and time will also be useful while adding some delays between the pictures. Now the concepts involved here are a word called API, or a term called API, which stands for Application Programming Interface. Now, an application programming interface is provided by someone who has data for people to be able to access it without giving them access to the complete server. So NASA has a lot of information on its servers, but this is one part of its API or one part of its data that it wants to provide to everyone, and that's why it creates a simple API for us to be able to connect to it. Now, whenever you want to connect to an API, how do you prevent people from overusing it and just spamming it? You need what is called an API key, which is kind of like a password to get access to the API. Once you have the API key and you know the API, you can make an API request. And that brings us back a response containing the data that we requested. In this case, we're going to get image data as a response, which is actually binary in nature. All right, that's pretty much all we need to know in terms of concepts to get going. And you know how to do this. pip3 install. The first step is to install the dependencies. Some of you might get prompted saying pandas is not available, so you might have to install pandas as well. All right, now this is where I'm gonna begin. And I have already done the registration to get the API key, and it's simple enough. You can go on to api.nasa.gov and put in your information, and it's going to give you the API. The parts that are blacked out are my API keys, and it also shows you the next one, which is a URL or a link to which you can make your request. So go ahead and sign up and get your API key. We're going to use this in the next step. All right, so now we begin our coding. We're going to create a new Python file. We're going to import the dependencies of NASAPy and requests. We're going to create a variable called key, where we're going to put in our API key that we received and then initialize the NASA module. All right, let's try this out. So we make a new file. I'm going to call this earth.gif.py. Import requests, and also from NASAPy import NASA. Then we need to make a variable called key, and we're going to put in our key over here. Everybody has one of their own. I'm going to use mine over here. And then we're going to initialize the API. All right, so you can run this and check it out, and it should not give us any errors. All right, so that means we're going along the right path. Let's take a look at the next step. So the next step that we have is to get the raw data from the API, and we're using a date for 22/04/2021, 22nd April, because that's something that I have tried out, but you're kind of always updated, and you will always find the most recent date. It may be a day or two before today, but you will find it being updated quite constantly. We again have to initialize the NASA's EPIC API, which provides us the images, and we're looking for images of the date that we have specified. We then print the data. We see a lot of this data, and we also notice that it's a dictionary of dictionaries. And in that, we are only looking for the image names. So let's take a look at this and see if we can get this image data. So what do we do here? We say today is equal to, and you got to make sure this format of the the format of the date is right. So let's do 22nd. It's 22nd April, and then we say today data is equal to NASA dot epic, and we say the date is equal to today, and we're just going to print today data. So let's take a look and see what we get. You can see that there's a whole lot of data over here, and it's a dictionary, and it's a list actually, if you notice, and there's a lot of data in here. The one that we're interested in is this image name. This will get, if we get this from each of the dictionaries, we get all the images that were captured on that day. So let's take a look at the next step. So now we got to print all the image names, right? So for more information, you can always visit the api.nasa.gov website. We're basically going to loop over the images and print each of the image names. Another thing we need to do is the API in itself uses a slightly different date format, so we're going to replace the hyphens with the slash. So we're going to say today is equal to today dot replace, and we will use the hyphen and replace it with the slash. That's one. Then we're going to for data in today underscore data, we will print data square brackets image, and this should give us all the images that were taken on the 22nd of April. Let's take a look. There you go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 11 images, and now what we need to do is download each one of these images. Let's take a look on how to do that. So this is where we use our request library. You see, we have a URL to which we make a get request because we want to get an image, and this format is also defined in NASA's documentation. So I have this stored in one of my files. I'm going to copy that over real quick. You guys might have to copy it off the NASA's website. And also let's take, so once we do that, we get the response. We then need to store the image into a file. So we open a file and notice that we say WB so that it's writing in binary. Also, we want to label each image as image 1, 2, 3, 4, which will help us later on. So we use an index variable as well. We write the content into the file and close it. All right, so let's test this out. We should be able to see all the images at the end of this. So you have the URL, you have the date mentioned over here. Remember to change the format from hyphens to slash. Then you have the image name, and then you have the key at the end. The next thing that we need to do is say file is equal to open, and I'm going to say image plus string of index plus .png, and we're going to open it for writing in binary. We're going to need to make this index variable, so we say index is equal to 0, and we say index plus equals 1 over here. We're also going to do file dot write, and we're going to write the response's content, the content carried by the response. And finally, we also do a file dot close. This is very important because the data doesn't really get saved unless you close it. All right. Oh, it's an index 0. And let's try running this, and we should see images come up on the left side of our editor. There you go. You see image 0. It's going one image at a time. That's it. We have all the images, and you can even see them right here. What we're going to do is make this into a GIF. Now, for people who know level 2 and know how to use Pygame, can load these images into Pygame and then split them really quick one after another to make that same GIF. But in order for everyone to be able to participate, we're going to use a simple website called Easy GIF, where we can upload these images and it gives us a GIF in response. Alright, so to make a GIF, we're going to open up the browser and just search up for Easy GIF. The first option that comes up is pretty much that, and GIF Maker is the one we want. We're going to choose files, and I'm going to browse into my own NASA GIF folder. Pick all the images and say open, and say upload and make a GIF. Seems to be working, and you can also modify these settings and add more delays and things like that, but I'm going to leave it all as default and just say make GIF. There you go. You can go ahead and save this if you like, and that's pretty cool looking, isn't it? Alright, try this out on your own, see if you can make some extensions and some cool projects using this. Stay tuned for more content from Young Wonks.